Good afternoon, I'm Sandra and I'm up and let's do some business now. The Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, has called for a swift passage of the Construction Authority Development Authority Bill. The bill has been at the consideration stage in Parliament since 2018. According to the Executive Director of GREDA, Samuel Amaibo, the bill, when passed, will regularize the activities of the industry.
But because there's no apex, supervisory body, the individual associations and the business associations are doing their best to work with their membership. And as you may be aware, the Constitution makes it clear that there's no compulsory association membership, except that there's a need for a council. And you realize also that councils can manage the affairs of professionals, but it is not easy for them to work with businesses, and so there's that difficulty on how to get everybody on board. So the industry will need a regulator. It will need a regulator for so many reasons. A few people are arguing that it is going to increase bureaucracies in the way we do businesses, but I beg to differ, because if you realize that if there is sanity anywhere and there's orderliness, there are so many things that you benefit from it. And one typical example, that 4 major benefits that I personally think that a regulator will bring to the construction industry will be to safeguard the interests of would-be owners who are interested in acquiring any form of infrastructure. So where I belong to the sector, housing sector, for example, if there is a regulator, it protects the interests of homeowners in particular. Then it also assists in transparency. When we all know what goes into the industry, who plays what, whose responsibility is what, when you have even a grievance, you know somewhere you can go and seek redress from. It brings some kind of transparency. And then when there's transparency and there's that protection of interest, then you can talk about attracting investment into the sector as well. So that when people want to put their money into the sector, they are informed and are guided by the principles that pertain in that industry. And so when they are putting in any kind of investment, the confidence level is higher.
Some poultry farmers in the Punkatamanso municipality say the negative impact of COVID-19 offers an opportunity to develop the sector with homegrown ideas. But Ghana spends millions of cedis annually on importation of soya beans, among other ingredients needed to produce poultry feed. The situation is even worse for farmers who feed their birds with 100% plant protein. The trend the poultry farmers fear could spell doom for Ghana in the event of another disease outbreak. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in this report.
Some of the farmers Joy Business visited include Stadon, Delaware, and Mensa Farms. For Mensa Farms, it had virtually closed down due to the impact of COVID-19. While sales was good for some farmers during the lockdown and its aftermath, it was a nightmare for others. Chief Executive Officer of Delaware Farms, Ewuku Edu, says farmers need a stimulus package to grow more broilers locally.
Immediately, the government should look at the crop farmers, maize, then soybean. The broiler feed is about 90% maize and soybean. So if we can get cheaper maize and cheaper soybean, honestly, we can compete with any imports. And the moment the government looks at the crop side, obviously, indirectly, it will affect us. We also have a cheaper product, and the Ghanaian consumer can afford buying the chicken from here, just as much as they are paying for the imported one. Especially because the more we expand, there will be more broiler production, and when there's more broiler production, there will be more processing plants, and we will employ a lot of people, a huge number.
According to Ewuku Edu, soft loans for farmers will go a long way to help them expand and employ more.
Last 2 years, I took some loans from Exim Bank to retool my land. I needed money for equipment. And I've been paying, but not too because of the challenges on the farm. Fortunately, when this thing came, they've called me. They said they are going to renegotiate with us so that they give us 6 months more moratorium, so that we don't pay anything, for us to be able to organize well and then pay over a 3-year period, which I think is very good for us. It is extremely good. Because most of the money I took, they were for equipment. But now I need operational cash, seriously. It's like what Exim is doing. You see, Exim, they are giving us special rates of interest. You see, the main commercial banks, it's too high. You can't succeed in that.
Meanwhile, Ajwa Donko of Stardon Farms says due to the lack of capacity, they are unable to meet market demands.
A week before the lockdown, that was when people bought most. So we had to sell the old layers, we had to sell the few broilers that we have, and we have to sell the eggs. So after the lockdown, people still were buying the product, they were still coming. But we didn't have as much egg as before because we sold the old layers, some of the old layers. So now we don't seem to be able to satisfy the market. Or people, if they want 20, we can only give them 10 crates. Or the people few people come, they want only 2 crates. That we try to satisfy. But when you want like 20, you get half of it.
Poultry farmers hope government will put in place policies to support the sector. Kwame Yanke's report for Joy Business.
And that's your business for now. I am Sandra Isen. I'm back at 1 with the marketplace. But after the break, we have sports with a man who has love for sports.